All right, we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome. We have our Thursday night show with Mel tonight. How are you doing, Mel?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm a little tired today, but I'm gonna truck through it.
Yeah, I think something's going on in the ethers or something.
Yeah, I did not sleep good at all last night either. I feel okay, just like crashing a little bit.
I didn't either. I've been having some episodes of vertigo today. I don't know, but the weather here is beautiful. But
Yeah,
um, I'll get through it.
yeah. Just gotta truck along, right? Truck along, right?
There you go.
All right, everyone. So me and Mel are going to be doing political questions tonight. So if you like, you can go ahead and submit them in the chat. Try to do them in all caps, a couple emojis, and we'll get to as many questions as possible. And if you could all do me a favor and please hit the thumbs up. Please subscribe and help me get to 7,000 subscribers. Getting kind of close. And we'll be doing a giveaway when I reach that, a free reading and Reiki session. And please go over to Mel's channel and subscribe if you haven't already. And I know Mel does giveaways as well.
Yes, I do. When I get to 19,000, I'll give away 3 free half-hour sessions.
Yeah. And we're going to have to do a big party when you get to 20,000.
Yes. And I've got room on my Rhine River tour. If you book it before May 31st of this year, you get free airfare from anywhere within the continental United States. We leave September 6th of next year. So Italy's sold out. Uganda's, we're getting ready to go. So
yeah, I was going to say, somebody wrote in the chat, I think they had some kind of medical procedure done. And she said she was excited because she was going to Uganda in 6 weeks. So
yeah, I know who that is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good. I'm glad she's coming. Yay.
Yes. Anyway. All right. So we got a lot. I've been really busy the last couple of days with readings and Reiki sessions. So I haven't kept the most on top of the news the last couple of days, but I'm getting a lot of questions. So I'm assuming that there's a lot going
on. I see Lisa Foster. Hi, Lisa. Thank you. She's telling them to subscribe. My Fairdale girlfriend from Kentucky.
Kay says she couldn't sleep last night either. Yeah, it was intense. I just got a couple hours. Maybe that's why I'm dragging so bad today. All right. So I think the most pressing, I think people want to know about the guy that leaked those classified documents.
Oh, yeah. When that leak happened, my guide showed me it was somebody in the government or the military, and that he would be caught. And it's not only him. There's a couple more.
I felt a couple too.
But I think he's like a Proud Boy, or no, he's not a Proud Boy, but he's like a supremacist and all that stuff. He's going to go to jail for a long time.
Yeah, I felt that too.
A long time, because the damage that he did. But I think what the government will do is put out a lot of misinformation to confuse the people that got those documents, because it had a lot of secrets in there.
And they were like recent too, like a couple of weeks ago.
I'm sorry.
But I said some of the classified documents were just from a couple of weeks ago too. So it's fairly new information he was putting out there. But I'm with you too. I feel like there was a collaboration between people.
Or conspiracy.
Yeah,
conspiracy.
I'm just going to throw a couple cards, but I do see him being charged with treason, Rhiannon.
I have a confession. I was too lazy to go upstairs and get my cards.
You're fine.
But I see the moon, which is the keeper of the secret.
So yeah,
a lot coming up.
Do you almost feel like he was paid off to drop the secrets? Because I almost feel a money exchange. Maybe that's where we're getting the connection of multiple people.
Well, it was indirectly exchanged. But you'll be able to prove that.
They will?
Yes.
Yeah, because I have like big money coming in to support it. I think when I had Susan Lynn on Tuesday, and when I was tapping into it, I felt like maybe there was a Russia connection, and maybe not directly, but maybe some people, some kind of cooperation. I mean, we know that there's dark money channels coming from Russia, so
For entertainment purposes only.
thank you so much. Yes.
Wildflower Wind said, I think Russia paid him. So.
Yeah, I heard Russia clearly with Susan Lynn. So, because somebody I think asked if it was from Trump, and I did not feel Trump, but I heard Russia, but not to say that he's not, affiliated with like QAnon stuff, or he's a MAGA. But I definitely see him being charged. Absolutely. Yeah, we're just doing political questions today. Me and Mel are going to do personals here soon. We've just been having a lot of stuff going on.
I'm looking up something. Keep going.
Yeah. Do you want me to switch on to a different question, or?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm just checking something.
Mm-hmm.
I got it.
Got it. I want to look at Dianne Feinstein, because there's some Democrats pushing for her to retire.
Yeah, doesn't she have shingles or something? I don't know if she's going to end up retiring, or if she's just not long for the earth plane. But I see her not in office. I see her being replaced, and soon. I don't know. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
But you're fine. She's up for re-election in 2024, and she said that she wasn't going to seek re-election. I do get, and for a while, the memory, the cognitive has seemed a little off with her. So maybe some kind of dementia. But I get that she does not want to retire early, because I'm feeling like pressured for her to step down, but she's still kind of wants to stay in there. They're giving her slack though, because she's been gone for a while, and they've been wanting to get some judges through, because she's on the Judiciary Committee in the Senate. But I feel more pressure to get her to resign. I see her kind of fighting it. But I was getting the hit that she may step down before her term's
up. I do too. I don't see her finishing on her term. And I see her replaced with somebody who's obviously really progressive.
Yeah.
So that's how I see it. But I don't know. It's just I know she's got shingles, they said, but I'm just really, really, really worried about her health. I think it's more than just shingles.
I do too. I think that there's definitely some cognitive decline. But as I was kind of shuffling, I did get the death card. Now that's rarely physical death, but it's all about endings. So this could be the end of her career, is what I'm kind of feeling. I was kind of feeling it when I was hearing about it, though, that she's going to push back, but eventually I think she may leave a little bit early. She's up next year, so.
Okay.
Yep.
So the reason I'm looking, somebody just brought up that there was a viral outbreak in East Africa, and they were asking about the trip. So that was what I was looking for.
Oh, I got
it. Everybody's minds. I found out it's the Marburg virus. It's in Tanzania and Guinea. All right. And it's not in where we're going to be going. It's not in Uganda.
Okay.
And so it's not airborne. It's just contagious when you have direct contact with an infected person. So I'm not.
Yeah, I think that you and everybody going is going to have an amazing trip.
Oh, good. Oh, yeah, good. It's person-to-person contact. So it's contact with blood or other bodily fluids are contaminated with body fluids. So I'm not going to worry about it.
All right. Well, me and you were kind of talking about.
Thanks for letting me talk about that.
Oh, of course.
And by the way, today's Jinlin. It's Jinlin's birthday. Happy birthday, Jinlin.
Happy birthday, Jinlin.
All right.
We were talking about this a little bit before we went live, but well, especially Tennessee. But Sweetie Darling Lulu asked, "Will the people in the South, Nebraska, Missouri, Tennessee, finally realize what the GOP is doing to them?"
Oh, they
I think
already
the
are
young
realizing
people,
it. I think
the
they
young
I think
people.
a lot of them are fed up with it.
Hmm.
That's why those, when those Tennessee goofs expelled those two senators or House members, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Um, I think they thought that it would kind of keep people from speaking up and continue to give, the Republicans control. Well, it backfired. And what
yeah,
you said, Kevin, and it's really true before we went on the air, it shot those two young men and the woman to skyrocketed them to fame.
yeah.
Uh, and they're
And
gonna
then
they're
they get put back in.
and getting a lot of people out to vote. So these
Hmm.
super majorities of these ultra right wing Christian nationalists, I see crumbling down. It's going to take a while, but it will happen.
Yeah.
My
Well, and
guys.
I think, yeah, it kind of makes them heroes. And as I was saying earlier, I see both of them, but especially Justin Pearson, really taking leadership roles in this new progressive, younger Democratic Party, and being stars in that. And if anything, like we were saying, it totally backfired on the Republicans. I agree. I feel like it was almost to oppress the Democrats. Like, we have all the power here. Shut up. We're not doing what you want. And then, and so they thought they were going to get away with it. And then they got put back in there. So it just gave them, like a public spotlight, and also kind of showed a lot of, you know, how racist a lot of those Tennessee Republicans are,
And
because
yeah,
you have the one woman staying in there, but then the two black men are of course expelled. So it doesn't make sense if that's what they were going for, to punish them for the protests.
well, I don't think it had anything to do with the protests. I think it was just kind of a warning, like keep your place,
Hmm.
right? Well, guess what? It backfired. And who are they? Not the black guys, but those ultra white wing MAGA Christian
Mm,
nationalist people that tried to oust these guys.
yeah,
So they meant it as a warning, and they meant it as almost like to make an example out of them. Well,
yeah.
in a way, they did make an example out of them. A wonderful example, because these guys are going to go places, I'm telling you.
Hmm.
I don't mean to point my finger, but I get excited.
Point your finger.
Yeah. I mean, so at the end of the day, when they expelled them, they did them a favor.
Hmm.
I mean,
Well, and you're not just seeing this in Tennessee, how crazy these Republicans are. You're seeing in Florida, they want to get rid of the Democratic Party entirely in Florida. In Wisconsin, they want to impeach this newly elected liberal justice that was in before she's even sat. She hasn't done anything wrong. So you're seeing what they're going to, all the corruption just to keep power. But I feel like it's turning people off, and it's getting young people out and motivated to vote. Besides, like the women's right issue and the gun reform that they're looking for, it's really mobilizing people. So yes, it people are realizing what they're doing, sweetie darling Lulu. The Republicans, most of them are on the Trump train, especially in the South. Um, and so I think that they're not upset by this at all. They probably are encouraging it, which is why they're, you know, just being totally corrupt.
well, you brought up something when you said that, yeah, DeSantis in Florida is trying to do away with the Democratic Party. Let him try. But if that
Hmm.
goes to the Supreme Court of the United States, they're going to say no, 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 no. And what
Mm,
really, really rubs me raw in certain places
yeah.
I ain't going to talk about with that whole Florida thing, it's like, they talk about more democracy and individual freedoms. They call us socialist and communist, but yet what they're trying to do, Florida, is instill a one party system,
Hmm.
which is what the former Soviet Union had, which was communist
Yeah.
and authoritarian. So I'm like, wait a minute here.
Mm,
You guys obviously you're the ones that are trying to be the authoritarian one party communist rule, not us.
Right. And the Republicans are all for the Constitution, but they want to limit your ability to free speech and protest. So peaceful
Protest,
protest.
speech, but yet they can bow down and kiss the insurrectionists, but that was people vacationing.
Yeah. Banning books,
Right. But banning free speech, banning women's rights, wanting a one-party system in Florida. That's not going to work. And if a lot of these other, MAGA states try to do the same thing, it's not going to work. And when you said young people coming out, Kevin, my psychic light bulb went off.
Yeah.
And it's what I see is going to be reminiscent of the late 60s and early 70s protest movement. Young people out protesting about things they felt unjust, like racism, like the war in Vietnam, like they wanted equality. And those protests changed social mores and laws for years. And now these ultra right wingers want to take us back to what it was before that. And they're not going to succeed.
I agree.
Not going to happen.
I mean, look at this Wisconsin race. Wisconsin is always like super close. It's super purple. If Democrats win, it's like by a percentage point or two. It's like super close. And especially in an off-term election, you normally don't get that voter turnout that Democrats need. And this liberal judge won by like, I think 10 or 11 points. So that right there is telling you people are waking up. This is all motivating people and young people to go out to the polls to vote. And I don't see it stopping before the next election.
Lisa Foster just told everybody to subscribe to Kevin's channel, so please do so.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I had to bring that up, Kevin. They want to impeach that judge, at least some of the ultra right wingers up there. But you know what? Bottom line is she hasn't done anything wrong. She hasn't done anything to impeach her for.
Right. She hasn't even been put in there yet.
Well,
it's crazy.
Governor Goodhair, that's what I call Scott Walker. Oh my God, there's a special place in Hades for him. With his anti-union, anti-this agenda, now he's surfaced again. But my guides tell me he's dog meat. He's going to end up going. Well, it's not. That's an insult, dog meat. But he's going to end up going back in the woodwork with all the other cucarachas.
I haven't even heard of him in a while. I don't think he's in public office anymore, is he?
No, he was voted out. But
good riddance.
You know what? Oh, my psychic light bulb went on. I got a funny feeling he's going to try to run for president. Well, good luck.
Didn't he try in 2016 and that didn't go very well, did it?
Exactly.
He was supposed to be like the new up and coming Republican, and he didn't do very well. I think he dropped out very shortly after, if I remember correctly.
If I'm starring some you've already starred, Kevin, just smack me on.
Oh, you're good. I keep on seeing this question, and I hadn't heard about it. But Ness asked question about Navalny poisoning. Will he pass shortly?
Yeah, I saw that question come up 2 or 3 times.
I hadn't heard. I mean, I'd heard that he was poisoned in the past, and I had actually felt like there was some damage from poisoning in the past, but I hadn't heard that. Was he recently poisoned again?
I don't know. I haven't heard about it.
If somebody in the chat could let me know.
I don't know.
Well, and too that like he's being tortured and not.
But if he does pass shortly, I'll tell you what. A lot of the people in Russia will make him a martyr, and it's not going to bode well for Putin.
They say he's very sick in the hospital.
What did it say? I didn't see it.
Somebody said that the news agencies reported that he was poisoned again and that he's very sick in the hospital.
Well, we know who was behind that.
Yeah.
Putin's going to try to say it was Ukraine that did it. That's exactly what Putin's going to pull. But nobody's going to believe it.
Wasn't he in a Russian prison? So how was it Ukraine?
Exactly. Well, he could say some Ukrainian working there,
right?
Conspiracy. I know what he's going to do. but it's not going to work.
I don't have the best feeling about it. I don't.
I'm sorry.
So I don't have the best feeling about it when I read the question. I don't want to really put it out there if he's going to pass shortly, and I always find that's kind of hard to predict anyway. We kind of go when we're meant to, and but I definitely get that there was, as we know, we have hidden agendas here with the high priestess, with the ruthless king here. But I agree with you. It's going to build the protest and build momentum up against Putin. And I think that would be the stupidest thing that he could do, because Russia is so destabilized right now and people are so upset with the war and everything. Yeah, let's take out Navalny. It's just going to get those people out to protest and overthrow him.
I just thought of something that's really bad. I was going to say, well, at least he didn't fall out of a first floor window. Do you hear what I said?
Yeah. Are you talking about Putin?
Well, Putin had all those people falling out of windows. It was an accident. And I said, at least Navalny didn't fall out of a first floor window.
Yeah. It's not funny, but
I didn't mean, well,
I know what you're saying. I mean, you talk back, or
everybody knows
against Putin. Yeah, you're getting pushed out of windows. So
everybody knows Putin did it. I mean, what's his favorite ways of offing people?
Mm-hmm.
Push them out a window or poison.
Yeah, but I think that we should all just send a lot of white light of protection and healing for Navalny and ask for the most benevolent outcomes.
But I know what he's going to pull. He's going to try to somehow or another twist it and turn it and blame Ukraine.
Okay.
Nobody's going to fall for it. But
well, right. I'm just saying, that's not a smart move if that's what he was trying to do, because I see that totally backfiring, and maybe that's this energy that we feel like he's taken out of the picture, or he's fleeing because they overthrow him.
Well, he's gonna get gone, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Well, this is a good one.
Oh, here's a comment.
What do you see for Jim Jordan? He's visiting New York next week. I think he's trying to. Could somebody in the chat tell me why he's going to New York next week?
He's going to go there. He's going to go there to try to start trouble.
Well, yeah.
And he's going to. For him, if he's going there, it's almost a show of force against Bragg. But there's going to be some judge that's going to come along and tell Jim Jordan to keep his nose out of this and to stop the obstruction. And I see Jim Jordan under indictment at some point.
Okay.
And I see Jim Jordan being sued, and whoever sues him is going to win.
Alvin Bragg just put out that he was suing him.
Well, guess what? Alvin Bragg's going to win.
All right.
A lot of people
protest. Thank you.
I don't see Jim Jordan finishing out his term. That just hit me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I said it too. Well, my guides told me, I think last week, when like MTG, when Trump was getting indicted, I felt like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Jim Jordan and some of these Republicans obviously were going to try to muddy the water and get involved and try to rile things up. And I felt like Alvin Bragg was not playing. Like, yeah, you want to play those games? I'm going to sue you.
Alvin Bragg is like, put your boxing gloves on. I'm ready.
Right.
I just saw a comment from Ian McGrath, and this one's really good.
Yeah.
Ian said, Jordan knows that if 45 gets indicted by Georgia and the DOJ, then Jordan will get indicted as well with others.
Absolutely.
So, that's why he's up to trying to obstruct, the 4 or 5 Ds: deceive, divert, detract, divide.
The Republican 5 Ds. Destroy.
Correct. I don't have my list with me, but they're upstairs. I think he's there trying to be a show of force to say to Bragg, look, I'm here. I think my guides are telling me Jim Jordan actually thinks that he can bully Bragg and that Bragg's afraid of him. Wrong answer.
I don't know if I feel anything super imminent coming from this. Um, I don't think he's going to be happy with the results for these protests. He's got the hermit upside down, so this feels like it's like isolation, um, and he's lost his magic. I feel like multiple people in the Republican Party, because we have like the family, the group of them. Obviously, they're abusing their power, and they have a tower moment coming for them very shortly. So,
Ooh, you know what? When you said that, abusing their power, my psychic light bulb went on again.
yeah,
And Jim Jordan, at some point, maybe not this ethics committee, but he's gonna. I don't know if overreach is indictable, but misuse of power is, and he's going to be in deep trouble for that.
Obstruction of justice, or interfering with an investigation.
Yep.
I'm with you. I see some trouble for him. I feel like they're giving him just a little. I mean, Bragg's not putting up with it, but I don't feel like he's ready to, like, handcuff him. But if they start problems in New York City, yeah, I could see him being arrested. I don't foresee that happening because I think Jordan knows, but he's going to have that tower moment not too far off.
Jordan is going to be in legal trouble for abuse of power.
Yep. And I've always felt him in trouble for the January 6th, too.
Oh, absolutely. So. Absolutely.
Martha says, what will the outcome be of Trump, his $50 million lawsuit against Michael Cohen?
Ding, ding, ding. That's my BS bell. Trump ain't going to win. Trump does what Trump always does. I'm going to sue you. And he thinks that he's going to, keep it in court. And here again, deceive, divert, detract, make it look like Cohen did something wrong. And, Trump's going to lash out at anybody he can. But he's going to be talking smack about Cohen too. But since Cohen is a witness, the judge in this case is going to advise Trump to keep his mouth shut about it.
Yeah.
He's not.
I've been being warned by a couple of judges to shut up or we're going to gag you.
Trump thinks he's got enough money if he keeps this going that, he's doing it to discredit Cohen, obviously. Mm-hmm. But Trump, he really miscalculated this one because Cohen is a lawyer, but Cohen knows a lot of big time lawyers and they will be chomping at the bit to take Cohen's case in this because what's that going to do for their careers? It's going to be huge.
Well, and anything said in that case too, I feel like could be used against him in other cases.
Of course.
So it's not going to be good. I see that backfiring on him. And I'll just say, will Trump be successful? As Linda G would say, it's a nothing burger. # nothing burger. I don't see it being successful at all.
This, what just hit me? This is terrible. I just thought.
Yeah.
It's like when they ask if Trump will win this case, I'm like, no, it's going to blow up on Trump like flatulence in reverse. It ain't going to be pretty. Sorry, when you said Linda Grindal.
Well, yeah, I don't see anything coming from that.
That's the new name I'm going to call Trump. FIR, flatulence in reverse. Because we know what comes out of his mouth.
Right. You can smell his breath a mile away, can't you?
Yeah, because we know what's coming out of his mouth.
Yeah.
Did I just say that? I don't think they'll put us in YouTube jail for that.
You'll be fine. We've said much worse on here.
Oh
I try to keep it somewhat clean, but there's been F-bombs dropped on the channel a long time ago. So
I know.
Any other? Oh, okay, I got you. So supposedly, there's so much going on, I can't even keep track of it. Supposedly, with Bragg's case, like the doorman had a story that was bought by the National Enquirer for like $30,000 that he had an affair and had a child with a maid, I think.
Yeah.
And so Hilda's asking, will any other of Trump's affairs come forward with claims of threats or paid abortions against their will?
I can answer it in one word: lots.
Lots, yeah. And I even feel, and I said it before, I definitely felt like that story was true with the maid and the child, but I feel like there's other children that he hasn't in like a similar situation.
Kevin, to use the vernacular, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Mm-hmm.
And notice you don't see Melania with him publicly much anymore.
Oh, that's all business. We all know that.
Of course.
Yeah. I feel Melania leaving soon.
Well, she'll get lots of money.
Yeah. Yeah, she'll definitely want to be leaving before all the money's gone.
But there's lots more coming out. So yes, you hit onto something there. He'll
Uh-huh. All right. We'll do this question, but I wanted, before we get to it, that Harlan Crow was the one that was paying for Clarence Thomas's trips, and I just heard today that he also just bought, in the past he had bought in Clarence Thomas's mother's house, and he didn't disclose that as well, and she was living there, so I think it was like 6 figures amount for the house. So I feel like this Clarence Thomas story is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. We've just seen just a little bit of it with this Harlan Crow that was paying for him and, obviously bribing him or whatever relationship that, he was getting money for power and all that kind of stuff, influence.
Well, there was, I think, a minister that came forward and he said something about to the effect of he had meetings with a couple of Supreme Court justices that were supposedly conservative, and that he said the church will back you with this money, if you do this. In other words, put through this stuff we want, i.e., overturning Roe v. Wade. And they kind of you put through our agenda, and then those justices agreed to it. And when they agreed to it, somebody else said to them, or one of the justices kind of, do you know what you've just done? Do you know? Because once you agree to something like that, then they're going to keep buying you.
Yeah.
So it's going to come out about Clarence Thomas, but a couple more justices and how they've received dark money like that. And so I see all kinds of investigations from the DOJ into at least 3 Supreme Court justices.
Yeah.
One of them whose name we've just mentioned.
And we've been saying that too. I feel like, especially come fall, we're going to hear a lot about the dark money channels, not just with the justices, but I think for the politicians. I do feel mostly Republicans, but I do feel a couple Democrats being caught up in it as well.
Of course, all Democrats aren't angels either.
Oh, right.
But what's going to happen is, if you've got money, you can say, I can donate it to anybody I want. Yes, you can, but you can't use it to buy the court because that's bribery and maybe fraud. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. And so I kind of think that there's going to be a lot more of these supposed donations, these lavish gifts that's going to be uncovered. And it's going to also be proven that the people who bought these lavish gifts for some of these justices did it to get their agendas through. That's illegal, which then raises, I think, legal precedent for the courts to come in and overturn those decisions because they weren't based on the evidence.
Well, and we see a lot of regulations being put in place after the next election, especially for the Supreme Court, eventually even term limits, I think. And I think that all of this kind of stems and fuels into that. I don't know do you get a connection with the Harlan Crow, the one that was connected with Clarence Thomas and Brett Kavanaugh paying off his outstanding debt? I'm not sure. I feel like he is a member of the Federalist Society. I don't know if it was him exactly. I think he was involved, but I don't know if it was specifically him.
I will answer it this way. Mm-hmm. They will be looking at his activities very closely.
Yeah.
And into the incomes of some of these other justices. I don't know if Trump had anything to do with that, But the bottom line is, Trump got by with so much, and everybody saw, hey, this is a free for all. Nobody's ever going to get caught. If he can do it, so can we.
Right.
And they could hide under cover of the court. Obviously, Clarence Thomas has zero integrity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's interesting. I don't want to keep going back to my show earlier this week with Susan Lynn, but she made a really good point that really resonated with me. Now that some of this stuff's all starting to come out, she felt pressure from those in the dark with Clarence Thomas wanting him to step down because they didn't want the light shined on it, because we know that it's not just Clarence Thomas that was receiving. That's funny. It's went otherwhere. And I got a resounding yes to that. So maybe that's why he's forced to step down.
Well, when you were saying that, my light bulb was going off like bling, bling, bling.
Mm-hmm.
I think some of those people, now this is what I'm intuiting. I think I intuit that a lot of those people that the dark money that Thomas was recipient of, all right, I don't know if they want him to step down, but what I did see is when you said that, as if he does step down and he'll be off the court, that you can take to the bank. I got a feeling they're going to pay him to shut his mouth.
Mm.
And at some point, there's going to be somebody that'll come forward and tip the DOJ off, or they're going to say, wait a minute, he got paid by these people, but then shut up. So because then it wouldn't implicate them. So, even more charges.
Yeah.
There's an old saying, sometimes the crime doesn't get you, but the cover-up will.
Right.
And there's a huge cover-up going on here, Kevin, I'm telling you.
I agree, 100%, Mel.
And that's going to come to light. So Susan Lynn was right on about that.
Yeah.
And so were you.
Michael asked, will Thomas be impeached? I see him resigning. I don't see him being impeached. I think he'll have
but just because he resigns doesn't mean he's out of the woods.
Mm-hmm.
He's still going to be in some deep duty.
But I don't think that they would have the votes to impeach him. I don't know what the precedent is. Not precedent. I don't know what the operations is. If that's the Senate, if they need a 2/3 vote to impeach a justice, I'm just not sure how that works. But I don't feel like they would have the votes to do that. I feel like the pressure builds so bad that he's forced to kind of walk away, even though he doesn't want to. And I do pick up something not good about his health too.
Yeah, I've been saying that a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Lisa Foster just posted something, Kevin. She said Florida just passed a 6-week abortion ban.
Yeah.
Whoa. Well, think about it. People are going to be hopping mad down there because number one, you can't say gay. Number two, you can't read books. Can't have your kids read books. They're trying to do away and make it one party, and now taking away women's rights. I'm telling you, there's going to be a lot of people were thinking about moving to Florida, but I see a lot of people moving out unless they get rid of the state.
Well, and I think some people have already moved out of there. Probably, good with all the storms and flooding that they're getting down there too. Especially if you're like on the coast. But I'm going to throw some cards on Florida to see if the impacts in the next election with Florida, if it comes more to the center. I feel like it does a little bit, but I don't know.
I see Florida purple at some point, but it's going to take about 4 or 5 years.
Okay, yeah, because I felt like it was still leaning red. I'm just going to throw a card. I do feel momentum for Democrats in Florida, but I get they'll be victorious eventually, but I don't think it's the next election because they have the sun and success. If anything, I think it's the Democratic headquarters in Florida really working hard to get people out there to vote, to knock on doors. And we are coming closer to balance with the justice card here. It's going to be a little bit of burdens, though, for a little while.
Oh, my goodness. Sweetie darling Lulu says in Texas, they sentenced a man up to 70 years in prison for spitting on a cop. Oh, man. Anyway. I'm sorry. I just had to
share. Oh, you're fine.
All right. Shall we
Um,
move, shall we move
yep.
gaily forward? Oh, I'm sorry, you can't say that in Florida.
Diane wants to know about Marsha Blackburn. She's a senator from, I think, Tennessee. Correct me if I'm wrong. Seems that she has something to hide. Can you see if there's anything on her?
When you said that, I saw a skeleton bone, a hand bone, and a skeleton arm sticking out of a cupboard.
Mm,
So I think the meaning of that is, yeah, she's got some skeletons in her closet, and
right.
they'll partially be exposed.
Ooh. I don't know if I feel legal problems for her.
No, I don't think it's legal. I just mean some skeletons in her closet that are going to come.
Mhm. I get she's the fool, acting foolish. She's got some heartbreak coming here for her.
Disappointment. Yeah.
Hmm. I don't know when she's up for re-election, but eventually, I see her walking away. There's some news and like a scandal coming out. It actually might be like some money. Maybe when we get into the dark money, like taking money, bribes. Um,
A lot of these people don't realize that by this ultra right wing MAGA nationalist BS, that they're really committing political suicide.
hmm
So people like her, Martha Louise Taylor Greene, they're going to go down as history as complete goofs. Jim Jordan
Yeah.
will be like, whoa. They're not going to be heroes, that's for sure.
Imagine 100 years from now, kids in history class learning about this time in history and how
No,
crazy it was.
they'll be like, I wonder what it was
How
like.
we almost lost our democracy.
Maybe our YouTube videos, they'll be put up for posterity.
Mm, yeah.
All right.
But I do feel well, and I say it every collab with Mel. The Republican Party is going to implode. So and I see them turning on each other. So yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of mudslinging between Republicans.
Can I just throw in something?
Yeah,
Kathy Reagan's wants me to do my Mitch McConnell
do
impression.
it.
I kind of feel bad for him because he fell.
Oh
So,
yeah.
so Ian McGrath, I'll do Mitch McConnell. Well, when the Satan signs that 6-week abortion bill, he's going to get screwed royally. Because all them women, they're going to be hopping mad.
Yeah. We love your Mitch McConnell impression, Mel.
I couldn't think of a joke, so I just had to read a comment.
Do you feel I don't think McConnell's came back to the Senate yet. I do feel like he's struggling and I feel like the whole incident was worse than what they've reported.
And you know what? I don't even know if he's going to be able to finish out his Senate term.
Yeah, we've been saying that.
For a
Do you feel
long
him coming back though?
If he does, it's briefly.
Mm.
He keeps falling. Didn't they say he's got some kind of neurological disease or something? I forgot. I don't know.
I don't know.
That's what I pick up.
But my guides told me when I think this is like the second time that they talked about him falling, and when I heard that, I feel like there's another fall coming again. So maybe that sets him back even more. I'm not hoping or wishing for that, but yeah,
I don't wish that on him. I never thought I'd say it, but Mitch McConnell looks appetizing when you compare him to the Marjorie Taylor Greenes or the Jim Jordans.
Yeah.
Not that I like Mitch McConnell, I don't.
Right, by any means. But yeah, at least he's not so crazy. I mean, he's obviously very corrupt, and his whole plans with just getting justices in the Supreme Court, even when like Obama was president, and that should have went to Merrick Garland. But yeah, he's not a good man. But obviously, I don't wish ill will on any of them, even Trump. So
well, a lot of his obstructionism and that whole avalanche he got going is now biting him in the butt, because he thought that he could put the tiger in the cage with Trump and all these ultra right wing MAGA people. Tiger's out. It's like Doerr's box is open. And so I think he's feeling some collective guilt for that. But
yeah, he should have had the courage and put the tiger in his cage before it was unleashed, right?
The tiger should have never been unleashed to begin with. But anyway.
It's a little too late to be opposing Trump now, isn't it?
That's
All
right.
the damage he's caused. Yeah.
Can I just post this comment, Kevin? Do you
Yeah,
mind?
of course.
I love this one. Oops, hold on a minute. I started. I'm sorry. I'll let you read it. This is really good.
I heard the Equality Project says gays should boycott or stay away from Florida.
Count me into that.
Mm,
Count me
yeah,
in.
I do feel like I said it before the election, and I'm not getting all into it because there's so much that you can and can't say on YouTube. But my guides did show me warning signs with Texas and Florida in that election. Like there was plots for things to change the results. But I do feel like some of the Democrats have left the state too. Maybe even going up more towards Georgia too. I do. I see it going. It's definitely more red than what it was when Obama won it,
Right, exactly.
but not enough for DeSantis to win by 20 points.
Well, when we go to St. Croix, one airline stops in Miami and then goes directly to St. Thomas. The other one, we go to Puerto Rico or to St. Thomas and then to St. Croix. So I'm going to tell Gary when we go to St. Croix, we are not stopping in Florida. It's not going to happen.
I'm sure most of the flights probably to the Caribbean are probably from Florida, right?
No, one airline flies Chicago, Miami, St. Croix. The other airline that we use, whose name I won't mention,
Yeah.
Chicago, Puerto Rico, or Chicago, St. Thomas. Then you get a little puddle jumper, like twin engine says,
Yeah.
which is fun. Go from St. Thomas to St. Croix. I'd rather be in longer customs lines than go to Florida.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, nothing against the people in Florida, but I will not put money in the pocket of a governor who limits everybody's rights.
Yeah.
Kay Muldoon says, I heard that, grab this one, Kevin. She said, I heard there's a bill being discussed in Florida that will make it illegal to video record an officer in public, such as the officer who killed George Floyd. Will this get anywhere?
It's disgusting.
Well, I don't see that getting anywhere because you have the right to film people in public. But notice anything that's going to bust somebody or go against what DeSantis wants, then he's going to try to make it illegal.
Right.
He's not going to win on all that stuff.
Anything to expose the corruption, right?
That's right. Well, my guides tell me that the Cleopas, as we say on the South where I come from, the Cleopas is going to be put on old DeSantis real quick.
All right.
I'm sorry, Kevin. Go ahead. It's your channel. I apologize. I just
you're good, Mel. It's both of our live streams.
Thank you.
We have our weekly show, so feel free to pick a question or put it up or whatever. All right. Do you see Georgia? Will they have a Democratic governor in 2026? Is that when Kemp's up? Because I think this is his second term, right?
I see them going more purple.
Mm.
So I don't know if it'll be a governor, but I see a lot of Democrats elected down there.
I feel yes, that they'll have a Democratic governor. If not in 2026, very shortly. Maybe the next election, but I heard yes.
All right.
All right. Well,
I'm reading the comments too.
What were you saying, Mo?
I'm just reading the comments too.
You're fine. I think we've touched on this before, but do you feel Twitter completely disappearing, or will the user bank just shrink a lot? I feel Twitter going down
the tubes.
Yep.
And I see like a platform coming along. Remember what it was MySpace, I think, and then it was and then all of a sudden Facebook came along.
Yep.
So that's what's going to happen to Twitter. There's another platform coming along that's going to be really, really popular and and will not allow people to slander other people. And it's going to be hugely popular.
Yeah. I agree. I feel Twitter going down. I don't know if completely disappear.
And it's not gonna.
But it's not going to be anything like it is now. And I agree. I feel another very similar social media coming up that will replace it for the most part. Is MySpace even still operating, or has that been shut down? I
I
haven't heard it.
don't
MySpace was the place to be when I was in high school.
Oh yeah, it was huge. It was
And
huge.
it was always cool too because you could go in and like set up these cool graphics for your profile and have music playing. MySpace was actually pretty cool, and you could do a lot more with it than Facebook. But just eventually, everybody switched over to Facebook.
Exactly, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what I see happening to Twitter.
All right.
It reminds me of the Titanic. You know,
Right.
Titanic before it sank, it kind of did this, then it went like that, and then it went like that, then it broke. So
Yeah.
the I think the bow, no, the stern kind of floated for a bit, and then so it's kind of I see Twitter kind of on this trajectory right now.
Yeah. Like sinking ship.
You got it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it'll seem to float for a little bit, but then boom. But when it goes under, it'll go quick.
Well, and I think we've said too that Elon Musk, I think he was paid to kind of knock down Twitter.
Well, I'm sure if it's a loss, it's a tax write-off for him.
Well, yeah, but I feel like the whole thing with him buying Twitter, there was an agenda probably to have it crash.
Oh, my light bulb went on. I got
Yeah.
cold chills. That's a yes.
Yeah. All right. I don't know if me and you've answered this together, but do you feel a gag order being put on Trump?
Yeah, because he's not going to shut his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And the judge is going to really be mad.
Oh yeah, I mean he's inciting violence against him, the prosecutor, his family. He's not going to put up with it. And I feel too, and maybe it's in the Georgia case too with Fonnie Willis, maybe a gag order coming out on that as well. I feel like there's multiple gag orders, and he's going to have to shut up, or he's going to be like in content and getting big fines. I feel him being fined from it.
Well, I think, Trump, I think he still thinks he's partly infallible. If you watch that movie, The Last Week of Hitler, when Hitler's in the bunker and he's still has this delusion he's going to win the war and his generals are against him and he's thinking he's so paranoid. At the very end, he realizes the war is gone and he says, "What about the German people?" And Hitler says, "Let them die. They didn't fight hard enough for me."
Yeah.
And then he killed himself. I don't see Trump taking his own life, but what's going to be happening with Trump is very reminiscent of that bunker scene.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't fight hard enough for me, and they didn't do this, and they didn't do that.
Well, I think that even applies for the Republican Party, which is why he may take it down and it may implode. True. They didn't fight hard enough for me. They didn't work hard enough to obstruct things for me.
Work hard.
If I'm going down, you're all going down.
Oh yeah, if he comes down, he's going to take people down with him.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
But I think that part of him thinks he's infallible, but deep inside, there's a part of him that's really afraid. That's why he's suing Cohn, because who else can he strike out? He thinks that he's going to make Cohn stop with his lawsuit. It ain't going to happen. And the other thing that my light bulb just went on, Trump thinks if he sues Cohn, then the court might issue a gag order against Cohn so that Cohn can't talk or say anything. That will not work.
I agree.
Cohn's not going to shut up. In fact, he's going to get more vocal.
I see it backfiring on Trump, like things used in that case coming out in other cases, or like them asking questions relevant to other cases.
Correct.
And it, he can't plead the fifth. So
I don't know if you can plead the fifth on a civil case.
No, you can't.
Oh, you can. Everything that Trump has done is now coming home to roost.
Mm-hmm.
I used to call him. I remember saying a long time ago, he thinks he's made of Teflon, but I see all these sticky notes all over him, and he's pulling them off real quick, and there's more sticking. So that whole Teflon, he's shedding it all off, will not work.
Right. Yeah, and we've been saying too, Trump doesn't have any more good days left. The things he used to be able to get away with, he's not going to be able to get out of all of this trouble he's in.
And you've seen pictures of him lately? He looks horrible.
He looks awful. You know what? I didn't get to the question earlier this week, but a lot of people were asking if, because he looks so awful, if he had a stroke. I don't feel like he did yet, but I always feel like that's a possibility, like heart or stroke, when I tap into his energy. But I don't think that that's happened yet.
Well, my guides have been telling me for a very, very long time. I saw dark clouds around his head area, which he needs to watch the head, which I've been saying for a long time could very well be a stroke. I don't wish that on him. I don't wish that on anybody. But I don't think he's had a stroke. He's probably caused a few, but he hasn't had one.
Well, and also with the head too, I don't think he's all there cognitively in the head either.
I'm sorry, say again.
I don't think he's all cognitively there in the head either. I do feel like there's some dementia there.
I don't think he was ever all cognitively there.
Right. Not right in the head.
We didn't have a moral compass, that's for sure.
Feinstein just requested a replacement.
Oh, wow.
But is that a replacement for the Judiciary Committee or a replacement for her seat?
Could be Judiciary Committee.
It's temporary replacement. Thank you, Rebecca. Yeah, so it's not permanent.
Well,
I feel her wanting to fight it, but I'm kind of wondering, like I said, I don't know if she's going to finish her whole term is what I was feeling.
I don't feel it, Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see her finishing her term.
All right. We haven't run on this in a while, but we're almost at an hour, so we'll probably only do a couple more questions. But
well, they can try to hold the debt ceiling hostage, but I see it raised because it's going to look bad for them. And if the repubes think that they're going to not win because they're holding the economy hostage, they'll change their mind in a nanosecond.
I almost wonder, though, and I was watching, I think it was something on Midas Touch, and it was really resonating with me. If maybe the reason why McCarthy goes is because they get him out of there when all chaos, the circus comes over raising the debt ceiling. Because I see it getting done. I don't know if it's like a day or two afterwards they coming together, or if it's right before. It feels like it's really close to the deadline. But I'm wondering if all of that circus is what gets McCarthy out.
Well, the thing is, if they get McCarthy out, who are they going to replace him with?
Right.
Because the replacement could be so much worse.
I almost feel like, and maybe this is where I feel like the bipartisanship comes a little bit later, but or a lot of the working across the aisle. But I'm almost wondering if the more middle of the road Republicans, not the QAnon MAGA Republicans, I wonder if they get somebody that's in the middle, because I think that they've had enough of the circus. I mean, can you imagine? People are so mad at the Republicans now they can't even win off-term elections in Wisconsin.
Oh, I know.
That they're going to, crash and destroy our debt, our economy. How's that going to play? I see Republicans being scared, and maybe that's where they implode, or the start of it.
You've been saying it all along. They're going to implode, and they're on the path of self-destruct.
I'm just going to throw a card on it. I definitely feel it's going to be passed, but is it before the deadline or right after?
You know, while you're throwing a card, I see a comment. Sonny Valeria said Bragg tried to get a restraining order and a Trump judge declined it. So he tried to get a restraining order against Jordan. But what I see coming there is a change of venue. So don't worry that this is a Trump appointed judge. Don't worry. I see a change of venue. So I'm sorry. I had to put that little.
Oh, you're fine, Mel.
Go ahead.
It's interesting because do I get it passed? Yes, I feel like it gets scary close where there's movement coming in. Like we have to act and then the deal comes. But also too, we have the devil. So we know that these MAGA Republicans, they don't care if they crash our economy. They're obstructionists. They like the circus.
Oh,
and I feel like there's a bit of a delay with it too. Like we're in suspense over it. But will it get done? Yes, there's agreement.
Yeah, of course. A lot of them like the chaos. and they like the
Mhm.
anarchy because it puts them in power, and they say, "See, we can fix it," but they're the ones creating it.
I bet you though that's what takes Kevin McCarthy down. Let's wait and see the debt ceiling. I think that's what's going to bring him down and get him out of there.
Right?
All right, you guys. Do one or two more. We're at an hour mark.
We've got 700 people watching. Yay!
Yay!
You're
Please
right.
do us a favor. Please hit that thumbs up and please subscribe to my channel and Mel's if you haven't already. We would greatly appreciate it.
Hit that like button.
Do you feel like there was congressmen involved in the leaked documents? I'm not feeling that.
No. I felt it was someone within the government, which was the military guy working
Yeah.
on that. But
I feel like there's multiple people involved with it. You're three? Yeah.
And that's going to come.
I feel like there may be a Russian connection with it. That's what I was feeling.
I feel you're right. Either that or Chinese, but I think more like Russian. And I do think that this guy leaked it because he wanted to bring down the current administration because he is a white supremacist. And he is, I think, MAGA, ultra right wing. And so, but I don't think that people in Congress were actively involved in that, no.
Yeah, I agree. I think we touched this already, but Jim Jordan, will he lose his lawsuit against Alvin Bragg?
He's going to lose big time. And I think he's a Trump-appointed judge who's hearing the case. But I keep seeing a change of venue, like a change of judge. So,
is it the same judge that is doing the Trump case that he filed this with, or is it a different?
I don't know. But here's the deal: that judge against that, that said Alvin Bragg couldn't, issue a restraining order, whatever, or issue whatever. That's federal. But the state of New York. So evidently, Jim Jordan has filed suit in federal court.
Oh, okay.
That's what I think. But I still see a change of venue.
Well, did Jim Jordan? It was Alvin Bragg that filed it, I think.
Oh, I'm sorry. Evidently, he filed it in federal court. I apologize.
Okay, because he's dealing with the federal branch rather than state.
Right, because Jim Jordan's federal.
Right.
But still, if Jim Jordan doesn't stop it, at some point, I see charges filed against him in New York for obstruction.
Okay.
And it's state, and the federal government can't do a thing about it.
And I feel like it might be more than just Jim Jordan that he sues.
Right.
All right. This is important, so I think we'll end on this one. We didn't talk about the abortion medication pill and its future. I felt like that judge was going to vote to stop it, but I get that I think it may actually get up to the Supreme Court, and I don't see them. I see them voting against that judge, so overturning it.
The Supreme Court are the ones who voted to kick Roe v. Wade back to the states, and there was some dark money on that one.
Yeah.
So if they voted to kick Roe v. Wade back to the states, and they can't vote to ban the abortion pill because they're going to say that's kind of discriminatory. So they're going to have to say, okay, we're going to kick that back to the states. So what it boils down to is some states you'll be able to get it, and some states you won't. That's how I see it playing out.
That's how you feel it?
There was one state that stocked up, bought up 4 years supply so that they can't do anything to them. I forgot what state it was, but it was pretty smart, actually.
I felt like it was going to be overturned, that ruling. I don't know, because I don't think it's going to be brought up on, is this a state's issue where it would get kicked back to the states? Because what this judge did is he blocked it for federally. So I don't see how they can block
that overturned.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And, it could be unconstitutional because how can you withhold medication? I don't know. But I still see the Supreme Court might kick it back to the states, but they'll overturn. I see this overturned.
Yeah, and I agree with Jamie because they have no business to regulate a drug that's been approved by the FDA.
I'm in 100% agreement with Jamie.
I think that's the argument there is like, it's FDA approved, so you can't.
This drug has been prescribed successfully for 40 years, and this is not an unsafe drug. That's what this judge might be thinking. It's been used successfully for 40 years. The thing that bothers me is these ultra right-wing Christian nationalists who talk about right to life. Wrong. They don't give one hoot about that. They just want to keep their power. I should say they're pro-birth, not pro-life. Mm-hmm. But when those babies are born, they don't do one smidgen for those kids. They want to cut social programs. The other thing is they talk about right to life. How many people did they let die because they refused to wear a mask or they won't limit gun control? How many of our children have to die because these ultra right wingers, don't want gun control legislation?
Yeah.
And it's all because of these huge organizations, one of whom supports a lot of guns, whose name I won't mention, is donating money to them.
Yeah.
How, they talk about right to life. Excuse me. These kids were just murdered again in another school. What does it take? And I'm mad right now when I think about it. Don't talk to me about right to life when you allow our kids to get murdered. And my guides tell me they're going to have to pay the karma of that because that blood is on their hands too.
Right. Well, and I think we're going to probably be seeing that very soon, aren't we?
Well, look what happened in Tennessee. Those kids marched. And you know what? There's going to be more people marching and more and more and more and more senators and more House members marching for gun control legislation. Nobody's trying to take away anybody's guns, but we really don't need an AK-47. Give me a break.
Right. And there needs to be regulations.
There will be.
I'm sorry. I don't think, somebody that suffers with mental illness or is, a convicted felon should be able to go buy a gun. I'm sorry. I don't.
Well, look what happened in Florida with that Pulse nightclub. That guy went in and killed all those gay people. Mm-hmm. All right. Nothing happened. You know what? DeSatan wasn't governor then, but he is now. Oh, but now he lets people carry guns without having a permit. They can be sealed. They don't even have to go through a vetting process. I'm like, what? He didn't care about that because it was a bunch of gay people killed. But how much do you want to bet if it was a school where his kids went and one of them were injured, he'd be on it like white on rice?
Right, of course.
And then I heard Taylor Greene saying, well, the only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. I don't think so.
I agree with you. If
that were the case, all these people wouldn't have died. Look at Highland Park, July the 4th. What was it, 7 or 8 people? A gunman with an automatic weapon goes on a rooftop and opens fire on parade goers? So they cannot talk to me about right to life.
Yep.
Because they're not doing anything to preserve human life. If anything, they're allowing murders to happen.
You know what my guides were saying is, as you were saying all of that, and like your whole point of them going to have the karma of the blood on their hands, these people that they're failing to protect are going to be the ones that vote them out of office. These young.
That's right. That's exactly right. I'm sorry, get on my high horse.
I feel the exact same way, and you express it so much better than I ever could. So thank you.
I just get mad.
Yeah. It's infuriating.
It's horrible.
It's so hypocritical.
I don't care if it was a Christian school, a Muslim school, a Hindu school, a white school, a black school. Kids have the right to be safe in school.
Yeah.
We have the right to be safe when we grocery shop or go to a parade or go to a movie.
Yeah.
I mean, the mass shootings are just, and then there was another one shortly thereafter. This one just happened in Louisville.
Oh, at the school, or was there another one?
No, it was a bank. It just happened in Louisville.
Oh, the bank. Yeah, I did hear about that. Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, it's pronounced Louisville. It just happened in Louisville. And the governor down there is a Democrat, and he came on and he was crying. He said he lost one of his best friends.
Yeah.
I mean, what does it take
Well, you
You
know
know,
what? Yes, I do feel with the guns. Unfortunately, I don't think it's until 2024 where we actually get a lot of big progress. But I do feel like some small steps before we get there. I feel like there's an executive order that Biden can to do. I don't think it's banning or something, but something with regulation that he has planned to do that will happen before the next election. And I do see some of these states putting in stricter regulations. And as you said, me and you both, we're not anti-gun. I believe that people should have the right to
have a gun.
have a gun for protection, or if you like to hunt, whatever. But you don't need a military grade weapon.
You don't need an AK-47.
Exactly.
You can't go
That, and
hunting when there'll be nothing left.
right, right. I mean, they're weapons of mass
Mass
destruction is
destruction.
what they are. Yeah.
They're made to kill, period.
Hmm.
And no questions asked.
Yeah.
It's I like I
I
and then,
see some
the thing,
progress with it, but I fortunately don't see a lot of major progress until the next election.
well, there's going to be some people marching and protesting,
Hmm.
and this gun violence is just going to be too much.
Yeah.
Um, it's I just it blows my mind.
Right.
Um, it blows my mind, but I do see at some point, you're right, you know, legislation coming where background checks, bans on assault weapons, all of that stuff.
I'm actually feeling, I don't know, I just kind of got a hit as we were talking. I actually feel like maybe it will come just before 2024. Maybe when we're getting more of that bipartisanship, and I've said I feel like the House very well might change parties before the next election. Maybe that's when we get something passed,
Oh,
because
they're
we're just
gonna,
having too many of these massacres going on, and something needs to give.
I had something in mind. I forgot my train of thought. I have a
Sorry.
speech my age a lot. But
It actually happened next year before the election.
oh, good. We need that. We need gun control in this country.
Hmm.
We really do.
Yeah, because it feels like it's bipartisan.
It's like I said, none of us are immune.
Hmm.
That's frightening. It's really frightening.
Yeah, and it's so hard to keep track of all of these shootings because, like Ted says, it happens every day. There's
There's
so many of them that the mainstream media doesn't even report
right.
on.
I mean, it's like it gets frightening after a while.
Hmm.
But anyway,
All right, everyone. Well, thank you all so much for stopping by. Mel, thank you. It's always fun. I really enjoy our weekly shows.
me too. I look forward to it.
So if you all could do me a favor, please smash that thumbs up. Please subscribe. Please go to Mel's channel and subscribe. If anybody's interested in a reading with Mel, how do they get a hold of you, Mel?
They can email me www. My website www.meldoerr. That's meldoerr.com, or call my office at 847-590-5411. 847-590-5411.
Yes, and I think your email's in the description box of this video. So,
There you go.
if anybody's interested in a reading or a Reiki session with me, you can email me at kevinlovingvibration@gmail.com. kevinlovingvibrations with an S @gmail.com, or you can text me at 440-376-4088. Next week on your channel, Mel,
Next week, my channel.
we'll be doing some personal readings here soon.
Yes.
I just feel like there's so much going on. It's hard to stay away from the politics.
I mean, today alone, it was like, whoa.
Right.
I thought, these are hot topics. We got to talk about them.
There's just so much going on, and unfortunately, I don't see it ending anytime soon. So I think it's a busy couple months.
It's going to be a roller coaster ride like you haven't imagined.
All right, everyone. Me and Mel will see you next week. Sending you all a lot of love and blessings, and see you all soon.